This seat right here is open for anyone to come on and dare to speak the truth. We will challenge topics and situations in a way that is forthright, but we're not here to appease people's sensibility or to make people comfortable in a lie. Good afternoon, everyone. My name, some of you may know, some of you may not know, Brother Minister Charles Stokes. Welcome to the first Dare to Speak the Truth broadcast here in the city of Springfield, Mass. I thank everyone for joining me today. I'm going to introduce what Dare to Speak the Truth is about. I'm going to talk about a few issues and topics that address and impact Springfield as a whole, and particularly for the African American community, where you can come in and dare to speak the truth. The conversations that we're going to have here on this show will be just like every other conversation we have in our barbershops, beauty salons, basketball courts, wherever we're at, talking about the social, political, and economic needs, concerns of the African American population and how we can do better. One of the things that I'm not about is respectability politics. And let me give you a brief definition of respectability politics. It refers to the way that people are attempting to make social change present in their condition by making social change and demands in a way that are acceptable to the dominant standards in their society. I'm not about respectability politics. I'm about talking in a way that is clear, concise, that will get to the actual point. There's no such thing on this show as my truth, their truth. It is the truth. Empirical life situations that have a meaning and a definition, and so no one is or has their own truth. 1 and 1 is 2. That's a universal truth that cannot be denied. Here on Dare to Speak the Truth, that's what we will be talking about. Things that are empirical that we cannot deny. This show is also open to anybody. There's a seat right here. This seat is open to the mayor. This seat is open to the district attorney. This seat is open to lawyers. This seat is open to any political candidate here in the city of Springfield. This seat right here is open for anyone to come on and dare to speak the truth. We will challenge topics and situations in a way that is forthright, but we're not here to appease people's sensibility or to make people comfortable in a lie. And so that's what Dare to Speak the Truth is about. And today I'm going to talk about public safety. And public safety is very important in our community. And so I just wanted to get all of the parameters straight here on Dare to Tell the Truth and how we're going to operate here on this show. Again, this show is open to everyone, no matter what your race, your gender, your sexual identity, the creed, or any of those things. Here's a seat. If you want to come in to challenge anything I say, you're free to come here, challenge me on anything.
This year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
These colorful binders help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I need for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
These scissors really come in handy in art class. These colored pencils, too.
These new socks, they can be a real lifesaver. And I finally got my own phone to stay in touch with my mom.
I heard about a shooting involving a 3-year-old girl over the summer. My daughter Riley is that age.
There was a point when I felt that I was going to die.
My parents used to always say a bullet doesn't have a name on it.
Someone put a bullet in the back of my 14-year-old son's head.
The gun should never be an option.
We're Americans. We don't have to live like this. We can all make a difference.
In the United States, 88 people die of gun violence every day.
We can end gun violence.
And with that being said, let me get into the main thing I want to talk about today. Last night, there was a shooting on Stebbins Street, and they had everything blocked off. I got several phone calls asking me to look into it and see what I could find out. At this point, I have relatively found out nothing. But what it got me to thinking about is how in our community, particularly the African-American community, and not exclusive to the African-American community, but our Latino brothers and sisters, and how the gun violence in the city of Springfield, we have a saying amongst us, suns out, guns out. And that's what is happening right now as we speak. But particularly in the African-American community, there seems to be no sense of urgency in dealing with this. Oftentimes, when myself and others who are involved in gun violence are talking about gun violence, people always say, I have had politicians, I have had clergy members, I have had a whole host of people, black people, who tell me that because of my passion, because of where I've come from, because of what I've went through, because of what Juanita Batchelor, and from all of you who don't know her, she's a mother who lost her son 9 years ago to murder, and she started an organization called MORE, Mother Overlooked Reaching Out to Empower. She's recently changed that to the Darrell Lee Jenkins Jr. Family Resource Center, where she is seeking justice and inspiring change, seeking justice for the almost 100 or more unsolved homicides of Black and Latino residents in the city of Springfield. But people tell us that because of our passion, we expect everyone else to be as passionate about gun violence and what's taking place in our community, just like everyone else. And I think that that's a false narrative. Public safety is the number one concern. And if a certain segment of the population doesn't have public safety, then that should alarm the whole city. And anyone who is Black or Latino in this city who is seeing our young men kill each other should have some sense of passion for solutions to solve this issue. And for some reason, in our city, this isn't the number one concern. This isn't the top priority. Public safety, the saving of Black and Latino lives here in the city of Springfield. And I think that we ought to all be more concerned about public safety, especially when it comes to our young men, particularly, who are killing each other with guns. And then you have the collateral damage of young people. There have been young women who have been murdered by guns just for hugging someone in the process of this. And so that's what I think there should be a sense of urgency at this moment, at this time. Public safety, gun violence, and I think that we all should have the same type of urgency to solve this. Public safety. Thank you.
I am Audrey Jackson.
I'm Greg Jackson.
On February 19th at 4 a.m., a gun was used to take my son from me. You know him as Pop Smoke. We call him Shar. Because of gun violence, I'll never see my son run up the front of our steps, taking them 2 at a time. He won't ever take my hands again and dance with me. He won't come into my room and muscle pose in the mirror. Gun violence destroys families. It must stop.
So again, folks, thank you to my colleagues. Folks, raise your hand. Patrick will come around and we'll get moving. Sir.
Mark John Felice. Springfield Technical News. Yeah. STC is the home of Shays Rebellion. After the Revolutionary War, the former soldiers, the veterans, their property, their mortgages were coming due because they couldn't run their farms during the war. The Continental Congress decided the states would pay the vouchers. However, Massachusetts decided to hem and haw and put it off until the people started losing their farms. The veterans stood up with their rifles, shut down the courts, stopped the evictions, and eventually tried to take over the armory next door. Some of the people in the Massachusetts General Court were kind enough to buy the bond or the notes at a much reduced price. And then when it finally came time for the General Court to decide how much to pay, we paid the most. Of course, many of those bonds or those notes were held by the General Court. They didn't get rid of Article 17. They didn't get rid of the Second Amendment. In fact, they ratified the Constitution with the Second Amendment after the rebellion, the armed rebellion. So it wasn't a problem then. What the problem now is, no matter what Bud Williams says about guns, you could have 1 billion guns here. If nobody wants to shoot somebody, they're not going to shoot them. If there are consequences to harming somebody, they're not going to do it. The way you control a population is you let them have stuff that they want to have, preserve what they're willing to have, what makes them happy, and take it away from them if they don't act properly in society. The one thing you have about every person that has been mentioned that was murdered in this situation was they were victims of bullies. You got to go out there and stop the rhetoric, stop accusing the police of being bad, stop saying racism, and get down to the fundamentals. Do what the successful people do. Don't blame the successful person because they have more money than you. You got to go to school, you got to stay in school, you have to do what it takes to be successful. And what's happening right now is we're paying people to stay out of their neighborhoods. We give people, the General Court gives people to stay out of their neighborhoods. They got free money, they're not working, they have nothing to lose because everything was handed them for free. They start doing drugs, the drug dealers start shooting up the place. We go back to the 1994 assault weapons ban. It was 5 years after that, the Columbine happened. It didn't help. We know what helps. Self-confidence. Students who have self-confidence, full families, mentoring. Get people to go into the schools and help with the teaching, help with the mentoring. Go in and have people who are successful and tell these people to follow the successful people. Because if you don't, they're just going to follow the gangbangers. And the gangbangers don't care because they don't think they're going to live past 26. It's not until you realize that you have an entire life ahead of you.
Everyone who was murdered wasn't a gangbanger.
Wasn't.
I didn't say they were, but the shooters are generally. These are people who don't think there's a future. So there's no reason to invest in a future. We know what to do. We've always known what to do. It's not blame the gun. It's not social engineering. It's self-confidence, self-respect, understanding that you're in a community with other people. And that is what the general court needs to push, and not try to make the gun a scapegoat. Because as soon as you get rid of the gun, like in England, they're going to find another weapon. It's to the point where now they want to ban household knives in England. Right? And then you still got the shootings, but because they banned the guns, they cover them up. It's not, you can put all the guns out there. If somebody doesn't want to hurt somebody with a gun, they're not going to do it. And that is what you need to attack. You need to go after the people. Self-confidence. We saw that there's something coming forward. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I do mine. I got a hold. Thank you. I'm good. I'm grown. Thank you.
Charles.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Minister Charles Stokes, and I was very appreciative of what you said, and I understand what you meant to say. I don't hold it against you. So we are, you mentioned about us being the first, and we are the first. Springfield is the deadliest city to live in the state of Massachusetts. We also rank 54th in the nation as the most dangerous city to live in America. So the solutions that we have, 35 years ago, I was shot by a gun. I was in the streets. I had no hope, and I was hopeless. And I did a lot of dumb stuff. I'm not blaming anybody for that. I made some mistakes. But this is 2023. So some of the solutions that we have to prevent gun violence, and this gentleman here mentioned it, they have ghost guns now. The young people are on computers and they're building ghost guns. You know why? In our communities, in our community centers, we have no computers. If they don't have something positive to do, they're going to find something to do. And this is our concern as Black people and Latino people. And what we're asking for is to be a part of the solution. There has nothing ever been designed out of the European mind that has been benefiting of Black and brown people. So we need to be in control of healing our young people. We ask you guys to let us handle our children. There's nothing that they can do to help them outside of us. This is our family. I grew up on Catherine and Bay Street. When I went to jail, we was in Burgess Circle, and in 2023, it's called Sycamore now. We know the young people in our community, but we don't have what it takes financially to establish institutions that they can come to and get love, support, and help. This is what the DLJ provides. We provide solutions to the problem, We work with Roka. Roka is doing a wonderful job in our city. We collaborate with them, with young people who just don't got no hope. There's abandonment issues, there's mental health issues, there's sexual issues that take place in the homes. And in our school system right here in Springfield, Mass., young black and brown children are graduating, reading at a kindergarten level. These are facts that are taking place in our city. So what do they do when they graduate? They can't read and can't write. I was embarrassed to tell people that I couldn't read and write. So I had to do something to get some money. And I only went where it was easy at, because I didn't think nobody gave a damn about me. I was a victim of gun violence. A police officer saved my life 35 years ago as I was laying bleeding out in the streets of Springfield, Mass. We like the police, we just don't like dumb policing that kills us for a stolen car or shoot us because they are afraid. If you're carrying guns and ammunition and you're afraid of a 15-year-old, perhaps that's not the job for you. If you are afraid to be a police officer, there's other things you can do. You can be a florist, you can lay carpets, but you don't have to have a gun if you are afraid. So some of the rhetoric that we hear, I don't blame, it's not racism. That's too easy. It's ignorance. They just don't know because they don't live where we live. Francine lives where we live. She lives where we live. Juanita lives where we live. People don't live where Joe and I live, a veteran. We're in the community. Carlos lives where we live. Me and Carlos grew up together. So what we're asking for is to be a part of the solutions, to be at the table. And I can guarantee you, if you allow us to help in this process, will gun violence ever stop? No, we're not that naive. But we have the power to get to our children and make a difference. They know we love them. They know we love them. Resources are available. In this city alone, all this ARPA money came into this city. None of it was given to us. The Fontaine brothers got $6 million of money. All of these businesses is getting money. The ARPA funds came in from the George Floyd Act. But Juanita Batchelor, $25,000. That's all we got. Everybody benefits off of the ARPA money but us. So we're not blaming anybody. We're not calling people racist. What we're saying is, if we are not at the table, being a part of the solution, since you're a taxpayer and you perceive we don't work. No, I'm just saying, guess who pay the taxes? You do. If you don't let us help, guess who pay the taxes? The people you said pay, hardworking, good people who we should follow. And I agree with you. But if you don't let us help you, you'll have to foot the bill. So we need to work together for a solution to this problem. And I agree with you. So I'm going to finish with this. We need funding and resources to do the job. And we guarantee you, if you let us help, we will solve this problem. We have young people, I'm going to finish with this. They listen to the stories of who killed their people, right? They're 7, 8 years old. So when they gravitate towards Sycamore or Knox Ave or the Ave, they're seeking revenge. We're not dealing with the mental health issues of our young people. So now they have a hard heart They want to get revenge for the death of their father, their brother, and their sister. But because we don't get the proper mental health services, they grow up. My nieces and my nephews, you know where they grew up going? To Burgess Circle. They have children because they hear the stories. We're here to stop the generational curses.
Yes.
We're here to stop it. We can do it. I promise you, Mr. Day, if you let us help you, we can do it. I promise you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Up in the back.
That's how you do it.